literally.
So obviously, what we're gonna do, yeah, we're gonna walk in together. If you wanna hold hands, we can, and say, "You'll never walk alone."
Sunday, Arsenal 0, Liverpool 2. You're gonna see on Twitter. Check this guy out.
Hey. What's going on, people? Welcome back to AFTV. Look, with the intros, bear with me. I've been trying. This week it's "You'll Never Walk Alone," but as Mikel Arteta said, on Sunday, the boys will be flying. It's true, he said it. They're gonna be ready. It's gonna be a big game. They're gonna be ready. We're gonna see better of what we've seen of late. It rhymed. It was good. It was well thought of. Thank you, guys. Let's get into this. 4:30 p.m. kickoff.
It wasn't his worst.
Wasn't his worst. Well, thank you.
Nah, it wasn't his worst.
Was last week that bad? Everyone said like
Which one was it again?
3 us from the shack.
Yeah,
Calls.
no, yeah.
Shack to the. No, okay. You missed that one as a cracker.
Nah, I watched it and I turned it off.
We need retention. You've got to stay on. We need the retention.
That's why you gotta stop the intros, because I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
The previous viewer retention is
By now,
32
50% have turned off. They're not even watching what we're saying now. So well done.
This is the
Well done on
this is
that.
the good
Rob,
bit.
You got a good man here.
Leave Rob out of this, man. He's gonna bring me into a meeting. This video is brought to you by Power Match UK. Thank you, Power Match UK, for sponsoring this video. And here's a little bit more on them here. Arsenal look to bounce back from last weekend's disappointment as they welcome Arne Slot to the Emirates Stadium for the first time. The Gunners have a solid recent record against the Reds, remaining unbeaten in their last 4 Premier League fixtures and winning their previous 2 home ties. Despite a very long injury list, Mikel Arteta promises Arsenal will be flying this weekend, and our friends at Paramatch are offering you an enhanced odds at 40-1 on Arsenal to come out victorious against Liverpool. To claim this offer, simply create a Paramatch UK account, opt into the promotion, and then place a £1 bet on Arsenal to beat Liverpool. Fingers crossed that happens. Come on, you Gunners. Remember, guys, you must be 18 or over and a UK resident. Enhanced odds are paid out in free bets and full terms and conditions apply with all links you need below. Please, please, please gamble responsibly. A huge thank you to Paramatch UK for sponsoring this video. I've lost my train of thought.
Let's preview these time codes. You know when comments put like football chat starts?
Yeah.
Preview starts 8 minutes in.
Right, let's start with you, James, because you're right. Let's go with the time codes of how you're feeling for this game. A massive game. Liverpool top. Wait.
Man said, "You're right, James. Let's go with time codes and what you feel is." What the you just say, bro?
I don't know. I started really strong, and then
Why are you nervous? You've been doing this for 3.5 years, bro.
I started strong and lost my train of thought. But now
I
we're
said,
back.
"You're right, James. What's the time codes for the?"
Right. The previous starts.
And I was going to leave it, but her riot laugh set me off.
Right, the previous starts in 3, 2, 1. James, it's Arsenal versus Liverpool here at the Emirates on the weekend. Sunday, how are you feeling ahead of this game?
Excited. Yeah, I feel excited. Not because we're playing well, but because I think we're capable of, I don't know, throwing some fuel on a very small fire and you win, and then bam, everything just kind of blows up a bit in a good way. We need that for our season at the moment. I think there's a lot of positives, and I was saying this on a live yesterday, that like no goals conceded in the Champions League, 7 points in 9, very good performance against PSG, lots to be proud of against Tottenham, City, Villa. So while there's a lot of negatives, I understand lack of doing what we maybe need to do in the transfer window, injuries, the result against Bournemouth, the football hasn't been great. There's a lot of positives, or enough positives there for me to feel like if we win this game and we do a little bit of what we did in February, 5 points behind Liverpool, but we won and we reminded them what we're about. We deserve to win that game, by the way, back in Feb. If we do that again, it can just set our season on fire in a good way. And it doesn't sound like a good thing, but you know, it can just bring everything to life a bit.
Okay, Turkish. So I'm gonna come back to James about
your time codes.
I'm gonna come back to James on that, because around the time when we did beat them, I want to talk about the time that period was in last season, because there was a lot of defeats, there's a few draws that led up to it, and that was kind of I don't know if it was a kickstart, but you know, it got us back believing when we beat them here at the Emirates last season. But how are you feeling ahead of this game? Is it it's huge, I think, for all of us, fans, the team, players, the position.
Yeah. It's big. It's weird because you could make arguments that it's the perfect game for us. You can make arguments that it's the worst game for us, because you look at our injuries and, you know, some of the players that we know we're missing and a couple that we might be missing. It doesn't make for good reading. This ain't no excuse, by the way, because we should be doing what we need to do.
Is it not an excuse? There's a lot of players. They've got players out. They've got Jota, they've got Alisson, Case doesn't really play, but they've got those players out. But we have got a long list of players that aren't available for this game.
Well, home, we finished above them 2 years in a row. They've got a new manager. I mean, those things work in the other way. I still think with these injuries, we should still be going to win the game. I don't want to see the defensive setup and all of that. But at the same time, it could be the perfect game, because most of our concerns, or maybe my concerns, or people that think like me's concerns, have kind of been doubled down on since we've been playing the teams that we expect to be beaten: Leicester, Southampton, Shakhtar, Bournemouth. When we got the news of Odegaard's injury, I was threatened Tottenham and City, but the way we manoeuvred around those ones, even Atalanta away, which was a poor game overall, but you need to do what you need to do, and we got it done.
It's a bit of a different beast, though. You said about Odegaard being over. This is like Saliba's not there, Saka potentially might not be there. I think, but you're saying still, no, there's no room for excuses regardless, because of what you said. We finished above them. That's a lot. That's big players out.
They are big players out, but at the end of the day, we've got. Listen, how much talk was there of qualities up, numbers are down? How much talk was there that the depth is adequate going into this season, and the excitement around Sterling on the last day of the window? So these things have to pay off now. I'm sorry, but I'm not looking for excuses before the fact. We'll see what happens Sunday. I'm still confident about it. If we talk about Liverpool, I'm not overly impressed by them.
We'll get into that.
So
wow, okay.
I just think regardless of injuries, we need to go and win the game. We need to win the game. Do I think we will? We'll talk about predictions at the end, but we need to go and win the game. Okay,
James, let me come back to you. You mentioned about the time period. I actually just had a little look there. It was like, I think we drew to Liverpool 1-1 at their place. Then it was a run of horrible games. The West Ham defeat, the Fulham defeat as well. And then we played them in the FA Cup. I remember them coming here, they put their kids on, they ended up beating us then. We played Liverpool quite a few times in like a span of like a month.
Yeah, I think it was 3 games in 7 or 8.
Yeah, and then obviously we went on to beat them. So at that time, I think Liverpool fans would have, again, like it is now, I think they would have said their favourites. Would you say their favourites come into this game? And is that kind of the same feeling of what we had last season when we played them here?
So going into the game at the Emirates in February, I predicted a 3-1. We won it 3-1, and the reason I said that was, and Liverpool fans didn't really like hearing it at the time. By the way, I've got the utmost respect for Liverpool. I really like what Arne Slot's doing at the moment, but just take us back to February for a sec. I felt we were the better team at Anfield. I think when you take everything into account, the away team and the expectation of both teams' performances, the fact we got a draw there, the way we played, I think a lot of that first, mainly the first 20 and the last 20.
It was dominant.
There was, and I think the middle part they dominated, but there was definitely, they hit the crossbar, of course. But I came out of the Anfield game really impressed with the performance. And in the Emirates game here in the FA Cup, we lost a game that we should have been 3-0 up in the first half. Chances. So when they were coming to the Emirates, I was confident because I'd seen the performances, not just a draw and a defeat in our last 2 against them. I was confident because I'd seen the performances that we could go beat them. Now this is slightly different.
Oh, you know where I was going to go then, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that same level of performance coming into this game. However, I do feel like what we did in February was flex a little bit and remind them, look, you haven't beaten us in 3 league games. We did finish above you last season. We are expected to be the closest challengers to City. We're going to remind you of that, which is kind of big talk from a club who haven't done anything when Liverpool have in the last few years against City, and I totally acknowledge that. But that's how Arsenal played the game in February, and I hope we can do a similar thing. Now the players missing, it's not an excuse, but it's certainly noteworthy. But then we've had City rock up here without Rodri and De Bruyne. It didn't make the win feel any less sweet when we beat them 1-0 here, and that was a deflected effort and all this context. So I just think, yes, we're missing some players and we don't quite know how many, but let's try to do what we did in February, which is just remind everyone why what we've done the last 2 years is no fluke, and just try and make a point again on the weekend.
I like that, and I'm hoping for that. As much as, like you said, in build-up to this game, it feels a lot different than build-up to the last game. Turkish, I want to ask both of you this question, actually. The home, for me, we've been terrible at home, but the home advantage, is there any for Arsenal? Because I think, I listen to a lot of content creators, I speak to Robbie, I speak to you guys at times, and people always say, well, we're at home. But I'll be honest, I haven't seen good from Arsenal at home in a long time. I know we've won some games, but it just seems disconnected, disjointed all the time. Is there any home advantage for you, or is it Because when we go to Anfield, it's always, even though there's Arne Slot's a new manager, if we go to Anfield, I still think, oh no, it's Anfield. I don't feel that at all for this game on Sunday. But is that just me?
I think, of course, there's home advantage, and I think when you compare our home form to our away form, you can make obviously the argument is we're better away from home, we're more secure, we're safer. But you know, if you look at our home form in comparison to other teams around us, we're still very good at home. We've got a very good record. We still win a lot of games. It's just when we compare it internally that we say, you know, why do we concede so many goals at home? Why does it look like we're so susceptible? Listen, we have dropped points at home. I'm not saying we haven't. We've also dropped points away. You know, so I think the home stuff, it's something we've got to get over, because of course there's an advantage. You're at home, the majority of the fans are behind you. More often than not, the Emirates has been booming the last 2 years or so. So there's an advantage there, but the numbers will tell you that the advantage hasn't been taken or used, let's say, because we are more nervy at home than we are away. Why is that? I don't really know. It's a question for Mikel and the players to answer, really. But the answer is the advantage at home. Of course there is, but at the same, I'd rather be playing at home today than Anfield. I mean, this weekend in Anfield, that's for sure. Yeah, that is for sure.
The one thing about the Emirates crowd, can I say, whether it's always perfect, whatever, they haven't failed to show up for a lot of big games over the last few years. You know, my brother and dad came to came here for the game against City at home, and they said it was just
electric.
It felt like it played a part in the game. You know, it felt like the fans were a part of it. And I think we've seen, whenever Liverpool have come here, I think in the last few years, the 3-2 win and the 3-1 win, the fans, you know, you hear that roar of the Emirates crowd when the goals go in the back of the net, which is the easiest part, but it's throughout the game, that feeling. I think when Tottenham have come here, there's been an energy. Maybe we didn't in the 2-2, but generally, like, the Emirates crowd doesn't fail to get up for the big games. And I think with the way the fans, I think, have this sixth sense sometimes for when, the club's struggling a bit, we're not quite at it, so they need us for this one against Liverpool, and I think that might prove true on the weekend, because if they show up, they can make a big difference.
But we do have to, and I quote this, fly, because the first 20 minutes on Sunday, if we are as poor as we have been in terms of doing something, creating something, then there's already, in the last few games, the crowd have been a bit subdued, they have been questioned, but listen, that comes part and parcel with the football you're watching. So I think the first 20 minutes are key. Arteta said we're going to be flying. If we do fly, the fans will fly with the team. But in the first 20 minutes, if we're struggling and Liverpool are, controlling the ball and we're struggling to break them down or create anything, then, and I don't blame the fans for it, because the fans ride off the emotion and the team performance. That's what the fans ride off. If there's nerves, there's nerves. Some people just can't, put nerves to the back of their mind and just,
And can I ask you guys something? Sorry to cut you. Who do you think will have more possession in this game?
That's a very good question. I've been toying with that for the last few days because of the way Slot plays.
I think Arsenal will. I think part of Arteta's will be flying on Sunday. I think is also almost a message to the players. Don't think that we're gonna try and cleverly play the percentages to win this game. Stay shape, be good on set pieces, attack when you can, have moments on the ball. I think he's trying to send a message.
He's going to go for
I want to come out flying.
That's what we saw 3-1. That's what we saw in the fixture.
Yeah, and I want to press them into areas, and I want to blow them away.
There's an argument that going left field might be better though.
But I think left field is us fully going for it. The way we've played more recently, I think us really being on the front foot, high press, suffocating them and making it really difficult, I think is more left field than if we, good 4-4-2 shape out of possession, then when we get the ball, pass it around, keep sensible. I think the more sensible approach is almost what Liverpool expect, because Arsenal showed a lot of respect to most opponents this season. So I'm interested whether that was a message to the team as well, and to the Emirates crowd from minute one. Let's go
Chelsea
big.
had more possession than them at Anfield.
They did.
But
Maresca is he's been doing it with Chelsea. He's been dominating a lot.
But
more
that's what Arteta's been doing with us until last 6 games.
Yeah, he's been going.
Whether that's Odegaard related or new season related, we don't know yet. But I assume more Odegaard than anything.
You mentioned the quote. Trust me, we'll be flying on Sunday. James, is Turkish right? I'm putting back to when he said about the fans.
Yeah.
Is he fair to say, well, we go off how you start the game, or should fans still, for you, just be at a level anyway? Is Arteta trying to, like you said, push that message, just be loud regardless? Or I actually agree with him. I think at the beginning I can gauge how Arsenal are going to be by their start. Is that fair that the fans kind of react off that, or? not in a game of this
there was a good discussion on Twitter between some Arsenal fans talking about how good the atmosphere was here in the 22-23 season.
Yeah.
And someone replied saying, but look at the football we played. Like, that's always going to energise a crowd. Do I believe in a world? I'm sure certain fan bases are maybe more loud than others, or certain atmospheres are better than others, or whatever. But ultimately, there's going to be 60,000 people here. Everyone's different. Everyone watches and supports football in a different way. I think a lot of it is dictated by the football. Yeah. You come out flying, you play with a purpose, you win some early challenges, you look switched on. Everyone senses that. Everyone here coming, they know their football and they know their team and they know, okay, Arsenal are on it, and you start to get excited. Whereas when you've coming up in here, where the first 20 minutes you've had some chances, but you're just going through the motions.
It was the other night.
And then you just sit there watching, kind of waiting for it to happen, and it can get like that. So I do believe that. What was your question? Oh, I forgot.
Is it fair that Turk says, well, it's kind of how you start, kind of how Arsenal start the game to get that sort of reaction from the fans?
I think for certain games the fans will come here no matter what, they'll be up for it. And that first 10 minutes, but then the players need to keep pouring fuel on it, as I keep saying, and just get that Emirates going. Because I actually believe that's our best chance of beating Liverpool as well. By trying to not focusing so much on stopping them, by just trying to remind them what we can do as well.
Well, let's talk about it. I'm going to do a section here where I'm going to kind of praise Arne Slot. You had a controversial kind of statement to say that you think he's not been to what I'm going to say. I think he's been superb. I actually have to take my hat off to him for the fact that after Klopp, you always expect a manager to come in and feel the pressure and a team decline, but he just seems like he's hit the ground running. They talk about the rock and roll football. They said he's come in and changed that. He's steadied the ship a little bit when it comes to defence and attack. He's got the best out of Gravenberch. Granted, some other players may not be at the best, but to see that and what he's done, I give him a lot of credit. Listen, we're recording after they just played in the Champions League, and I thought they were good in that game. RB Leipzig aren't no joke. I think they played well in that game. I see an identity from Liverpool. So I'm a bit fearful, and fans in the comments will say, or people in the comments will say, Cecil, you're always a warrior, and I am. But I don't have the greatest of feeling and coming into this game on Sunday because of what I've seen from Arne Slot. I don't know what side you're on. I don't know if you might be against him. I don't know if you're saying.
I think both are true, but go on, Tony.
Before people misquote me out there, I think Arne Slot's done an incredible job.
Yeah.
I just think Liverpool haven't been overly impressive. I think Chelsea game was a 60-55, 45 game, 60-40 game.
That's fair.
What one goal settled it. But I think that is what Arne Slot has brought: more control, more in-game management. We also have to get used to that. It's the same Liverpool players that have bagged goals and they've shown the ruthlessness in attack, but it's a different manager getting different things out of these players. So that could be an argument there. And you're right, against Leipzig again, they controlled, they dominated, they picked their moments. They probably, they're susceptible as well.
Yeah, they are. But every team is.
They could have scored a couple more goals themselves, and away from home, and it's never easy in the Champions League. So Arne Slot, incredible job, because coming in after a Klopp, it's a big task. Listen, Klopp's last 2 years, a couple of domestic trophies, but third place finishes, it wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of noise around midfield and the improvements or the lack of improvements in midfield. Arne Slot comes in, doesn't bring in a single body in midfield, even though they tried with Zubimendi. He didn't panic. He brought in Chiesa as someone to add in. He's injured at the moment, so he's pretty much got the same team, and he's getting great results out of them in a different way. So I can't lie, Arne Slot's impressed me a lot. But in terms of Liverpool, I'm not scared on Sunday about Liverpool. I'm scared more about us.
Okay,
because we've left ourselves in a position
that's
where
a good line.
If we do lose to Liverpool, if we do drop points, it's a big blow.
Yeah, and then we come to you, James, because obviously on Klopp's final year, it felt like they were just getting through games in his final season. For me, it looked like, this could be a start of a decline. Some could have said, but then Arne Slot's come in, and it feels like they're just back at it.
Yeah, Liverpool's running for the title race wasn't great. And I feel like that did get a little bit forgotten, just brushed under the carpet 100%. Because we still had another title race between Arsenal and City. Arsenal did a very similar thing to what Liverpool did last season, and it doesn't feel like we're being allowed to forget it. And that's probably because Liverpool have got it over the line before, therefore, they're not talked about the same, which is completely fair enough. But Liverpool weren't impressive in the run-in at all. And so it makes Arne Slot and the job he's done even more impressive, that they've had to deal with what wasn't the best momentum coming into this season, then Jurgen Klopp leaving. But I'm with Turkish. I think he's been incredibly, I think he's been incredibly impressive. What's that, 10, 11 wins in 12? 10 and 11, something like that. A style of football that's been really quickly adopted by him or by his players. I think, which isn't massively far away from what Klopp was doing,
No.
but there's clearly changes. I think to use Gravenberch to give them a different profile in there and reinvent his game a little has been really impressive. I'm no expert on Liverpool, but the little bits I've seen, really, really like what they're doing. What I would say is I kind of agree with Turkish too, and they can throw this back at us. It says for any Liverpool fans watching this, I totally appreciate
I'm not impressed
that.
by us.
Yeah.
Before they think
Yeah. Before we're sitting there going, whereas we are phenomenal.
They were mid-typing how could you not be impressed? But
no, let's make it clear. We haven't been overwhelmingly impressive
No.
either at all. And of the two, for sure, Liverpool have shown more.
Yeah.
But what I would say is that doesn't mean Liverpool, in what's been an almost faultless run of games, haven't shown imperfections. Against Chelsea, I think that was a far from perfect performance. Probably deserved the win, but far from perfect. There were moments, I think, in that first half that a better, more clinical side, with a little bit more cutting edge or a little bit more, fear in that front line might have, and Chelsea did well, but might have hurt Liverpool in that situation. And there's just a few others, and like I said, I haven't watched loads of them, but at times I'm going, is this a more subdued approach, or is this actually maybe something isn't quite 100% clicking? But look, listen, I'm sounding like I'm being critical. They've done fantastic work. I'm just saying, I'm saying that the narrative is how incredible they are, and I haven't quite seen that, but maybe I'll see it in 4K on Sunday, which would hurt. I'm with Turkish. Arsenal, for me, the result I feel like is more on us. And what I mean by that is, I think if we turn up in the way we can, like PSG at home, for example, then I think we win the game.
So it's not like player errors from ourselves. It's not red cards, not discipline. It's more just if we can see the best of Arsenal.
But that's part of Arsenal, like the red cards and the silly moments, the giving the ball away in stupid areas. But even away from that, even if we're just not at, even if we're in second, third gear, we don't hit fourth, fifth. If we hit our best, and of course it's player dependent too, so it's kind of why it's a bit annoying talking about this without knowing who's available. But if we come out with Saka on the pitch, Timber on the pitch, most of the players we expect to be there, and we are just at full pelt, ready to fly, as Arteta would say, then I think we can win the game. I would be surprised, and I could easily be clipped up and look an idiot for saying this, and I'll hold it if I do. I'd be really surprised if Arsenal turn up looking 10 out of 10, but Liverpool turn up looking 10 out of 10 and beat us, if that makes sense. I think if we do our thing, we show up the way we should, then I really think it's on us. But Arsenal haven't done that for a while. That's the other thing I'm trying to say here, and that's why I am nervy in a lot of ways about this game.
So if both teams are at their best, then Arsenal win this game. Now,
I think so. Yeah. Even with the injuries, I do think so.
There's a few stats around this game. I think if Arne Slot wins this game, it's the second best start to a Liverpool campaign for him. I also want to talk about quickly just do a stat here. Arsenal will be without suspended William Saliba for this game, a player who had played every single minute in the Premier League for the Gunners since the start of last season, prior to this red card against Bournemouth, since making his debut in the competition. For me, I don't know, I just think it's a really interesting stat to highlight. I didn't realise he's played that many games. I know he's important, but blimey, it's time to kind of give your score predictions, but I want more context around score predictions, because we kind of spoke about how Arsenal can win, what we need to expect from Arsenal to get the win. But if Arne Slot comes here and is pragmatic and it's not rock and roll football, but we go full out attack, what does that look like? What scoreline do you get from that? I want to know your score prediction and why, and James's score prediction and why.
This is one of the most difficult ones to predict.
It really is.
If I take Arteta taking Sterling off and bringing Kivior on after that red card into this game, I'm going for a draw, a boring draw. If I take what you said about flying, then I think there'll be goals in it. It'll be interesting, and
there'll be goals from both teams, or just from
both teams? Yeah, because listen, we looked messy without Saliba that day. That was our first glimpse at the defence without Saliba since the end of the 22-23 season, and I'm sure Ben White didn't look the same, and obviously Kivior, you could argue out of position. Gabriel wasn't really, leading. I mean, the defence looked awful after Saliba came on. Bournemouth were at us. So I'm nervy about that. I'm going to go for a 1-1.
It's tough. It's tough to gauge. Obviously, is that game last time. The draw at their place was, it was very open. I remember Salah obviously taking on Zinchenko and putting the top bins. It was very open. This game, if you go by Arteta saying what you're saying, it could be very open and aggressive. But I don't know if Arne Slot is going to prepare for that? It's just so hard to call. I want to know your thoughts and score prediction.
I said 2-0 on Forever Arsenal.
Ooh.
In a lot of ways, I still think it will go that way. But do you know what I've seen from Arsenal on Super Sundays before is, and we've all watched this game of football, I could probably list 3 or 4 examples. Arsenal go into a game in bad form, they're not quite at it, they find themselves 1 or 2-0 down, and then they kick into life. We were here, I think, on Boxing Day or the 27th, I can't remember who it was, a few years back, 2-0 down. I remember the Ozil goal to put us 3-2 up, actually ended 3-3. And it was a bit of a blockbuster game in which Arsenal just came out, flying. Well, they didn't. From 2-0 down, they did. Tottenham here, I think we went 1-0 up, then 2-1 down. We win that 4-2. They're just games I can remember where we've not been in great form, and that's actually shown in the first 10-20 minutes. Then we've got a mountain to climb, and it almost makes a decision for Arsenal. Well, you have to play now because you're behind, and then that's when we rediscover it. A little part of me wouldn't be surprised if we're a goal or 2 down, but we still find a way to come out with something or a win. But I'm going to stick with my 2-0 just because Arsenal typically are quite a focused side under Arteta, and by focused I mean, they care about their clean sheets, they get into a good shape. The red card's another question, but I'm going to stick with the 2-0, but it wouldn't surprise me if we just get this mental game of football. It wouldn't surprise me if we had this very tactical chess match. And I know I'm covering all bases here, and you can slag me in the comments for it, but that's because both, certainly Arteta's shown ability to do a bit of both. So I just don't know which way he's going to go with it, especially with the injuries.
I like that. I like his score. He did cover all bases, and if both teams at the best, we win.
2-0. It could be. We could lose 2-0. We could win 4-0.
It's funny. I'm going to go with your score prediction that you began with.
I'm going to set on a prediction. We're going to win 2-0. It's going to be a controlled performance, and Arsenal will look the business, I think, on Sunday. That's what I want to go for.
I like that, James, when he's definitive in his answer. I like that, and I'm going to go. They're going to hate me for this. 1-0 Liverpool.
Really?
Yeah, I think, and again, I'm the warrior.
That also could happen.
I'm the warrior. I think there could be a chance that, they come out flying, Arsenal, and we get the win. And if this is the bounce back that we need, and everything kick-starts from here, even though we haven't lost. I feel like I'm going over the top. We've only lost 1 game in 6 months, and I'm aware of that. But from what I've seen in build up to this game from Arsenal, I don't see how we beat this current Liverpool side. It's very surface level, but that's just how I feel and what I've seen. But it could be, like I said, the complete opposite, and we kick on and you get the best Arsenal and we win the game. But 1-0 to Liverpool for me.
I always love we've only lost 1 game in 6 months, because 3 months of it we were on holiday.
Yeah. And we've also only lost 1 game in 1 week. So it depends how you want to word it.
Do you know what? We've only lost twice in a calendar year. I like that stat until I hear that City haven't lost since the 6th of December.
Yeah.
And then I feel
that's what we're dealing with.
What the hell am I feeling happy about?
That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah. So context is everything for a lot of things. So thank you for that insight from both of you. Thank you for joining me for this preview.
What a mess.
Started a mess. It ended strong.
A mess the whole way.
It ended strong.
It was all a mess.
Yeah, you done well.
Thank you very much. Guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments. I know you will anyway, in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video, and let's hope Arsenal do win this game and we can kick on going forward in this season. Take care.